Yo, what's up, everybody? Back on June 10th, I put out a video talking about the German Amigos and how there was some like weirdness surrounding the team. Some of their Twitter handle stuff had been disabled and accounts and stuff due to verification and everything all over the place. A lot of weird things were going on with German Amigos. And in today's video, we are going to give you the full story, start to finish. What is up, everybody? Lawler here, your inside source for Rocket League. We had a big one today, all about the German Amigos. For those that haven't seen this or have any idea what's going on, buckle in because it's going to be a bumpy one. So, like I said, back on June 10th, I ended up seeing that German Amigos stuff was going on with their Twitter, and people were thinking that it was getting verified, and that was going on, and there was a bunch of different stuff. Eventually, the verification ended up coming back, and this account was verified, but a bunch of the stuff was changed. Twitter bio was different. And the title was Statement Coming Soon. And we're like, what the heck is going on? We finally have our statements from both sides. And that's kind of what I was waiting for, is not only is everything in German, and I clearly don't speak German, lovely people from my community were nice enough to transcribe and actually translate some of these. There's also people in the community on Reddit that ended up breaking this down and detailing the information for us. So to those unsung heroes, I greatly thank you. It is greatly appreciated because I can't do this without you. Just because the subtitles on the video were terrible. It was really weird. So with that said, the first thing comes out with German Amigos making a new Twitter account called German Amigos RL, non-verified, but it's got the team Catalysm, RizX, and Ivan. They've got their sub and their coach/manager, which they're looking for. And then they had an assistant manager by the name of Rise, whose first name is Simon. That is important. Keep that in mind. So in their tweet longer they put out, they said, hey, what's up? We've parted ways with our previous former coach manager, Magiczzz, a few days ago. We don't need to go into the details, and we prefer to keep things private. But if he does decide to go out with more details, we will also make a detailed statement. They do state that after they parted ways, he changed the Twitter logins of the team account, deleted all the tweets, blocked everyone, and changed the name to Statement Coming Soon, as I mentioned. We don't know if there will ever be a statement, but if so, we'll publish ours too. And if that does happen, we'll go into detail. For those that are wondering about how he was able to change logins, he's the one who made the original account and was able to manipulate it however he thought. And he has also claimed that it is his account. We're still trying to solve everything in private since we don't want anything bad for Magiczzz. And because of this, don't follow the original account. Please follow ours. This is the new account, etc. Much love. So the next part happens where Magiczzz puts out a tweet stating that this is 20 minutes of 100% uncut real talk, and it's in German. I'm 100% telling the truth here. So I pull up the video, and the subtitles don't do a good job. But luckily, one of the people, Trigger was taken on Twitter, made a transcript about this. And my God, is this just wow. I'm going to do my best to summarize this in a very quick way. But a couple just things, words of advice, if anybody here listening would like to hear it. Number one, if you are ever making a post or typing something out or making a video about something that you are emotionally invested in, remove the emotion. You need to be objective. You need to just state facts. You need to get rid of all the emotional attachment to it. Otherwise, you can end up saying some things that you may regret. And this is definitely the case. Magiczzz extremely invested in this team or what this was, and there was a lot of things said that I assume he will want to take back in the future. It starts off with Magiczzz saying, this is 100% real talk, no editing. I'm 32 years old. I am a CEO. It's ridiculous that I need to make a statement after he posts that a statement is coming soon, but there are so many kids out there that talk ish and read so much ish that makes me mad. They don't have balls, hide behind their screens, and calls them internet Rambos like 7 times. In short, everything summarized, they basically tell him, you haven't coached us, because he hasn't. He's like a champ 1 player. He's never coached them. He may sit in replay analysis and stuff like that, but he doesn't really provide anything to the actual coaching experience. He doesn't help them improve. He doesn't help them with their mentalities. It's just, he's basically like a fly on the wall is what it sounds like, based upon the things that I'm reading. And because they don't respect him as a coach, they're like, you know what, man? We want a different coach. We appreciate all the hard work you've done for us, and that's the way that it is. And then he continues to go on this tirade, attacking them, talking about how they owe him money, and saying like they're going to get burnt with, like, basically karma's going to come back to bite them, almost as if it's a threat, and a bunch of other things that are just like, you're airing out dirty laundry. You're talking about like drug problems and this and that, and it's you're talking about like family members passing away and stuff like that, which is him basically stating like, yo, I consider you guys family. I was very vulnerable with you. And a bunch of other things come out. If you guys want to know, like, if you want to read all the full details and stuff, it's in the description down below. But overall, it feels like the players felt that Magiczzz wasn't helping them in the way that they wanted. So they're like, hey, we're going to let you go. It could have been handled better because the players didn't inform him immediately, and they discussed it with other people in a Discord that weren't part of the team. And he feels slighted, or that it's unfair that he didn't get a second chance or something to that extent. And because he's invested a bunch of time and effort, he is upset. There's a lot of different ways you can read this. Again, it's a long transcript. Shoutouts to @Trigga was taken on Twitter for the full thing, but it is wild. It is a roller coaster of emotions. But overall, the thing that I get from it is that the players wanted another coach because they didn't deem Magiczzz good enough, I guess is the best way to say it in layman's terms. They didn't think he had the qualifications to help them where they needed, whether it be with mentality help or just in-game knowledge. They didn't tell him at first, even though the decision had apparently been already made quite some time ago. And then when they did decide to tell him, he was extremely unhappy with the previous lack of communication, saying they might have been able to talk things over. But I can tell you right now, if the players have already made up their mind, there's probably nothing that you can do, man. You just got to accept it and move on, which sucks. It's just the way it goes. Tox ended up coming in as a mediator to help kind of talk it out. In the call, they start arguing over the Twitter account and everything else because he made the account, it's his, etc., etc. But he gave it over to Simon, their assistant social media manager, since he didn't have the time. And then Ivan and Magiczzz start fighting and insulting each other again. Magiczzz leaves the call and blocks everybody, including Arise/Simon. Magiczzz says that he now plans to build a better team and keep the account for himself, a German Amigos 2.0 of sorts. It's all over the place. I do agree there could be better communication and otherwise, but that is not all. Because this statement comes out, the German Amigos, primarily Ivan, tweet that they're going to be doing a stream, and that stream where they will kind of detail it and make their own statement. This is another one where I'm like, I have no idea what is going on. So now, the last part of the video, talking about the German Amigos side of things, because so far everything has been on the side of Magiczzz. I will put a disclaimer, because this comes from the person that transcribed it for me, that this is 100% not all of the information. The stream was several hours long, and it is very hard to keep track of all that information, rightfully so. He had a hard time of deciphering which moments were crucial and which ones were not, so he just wrote down everything he could. Again, shout outs to Chris. Thank you for all the help. This was broken down into 8 different sections, the 8th one summarizing it. So the first one is their relationship, where they state several times in the call that they really appreciate and like Magiczzz as a person, said they had sympathies for him, talked about some of the personal instances and the things that he did for some of the players like Rizx and etc. However, when they criticized his behavior, when they came up to him to talk about kicking him, things did not go well. Him as a manager, the players then thanked him for organizing all the scrims. Getting all those scrims together is obviously a lot of work. The players appreciate that work, and it doesn't look like that was ever an issue. It doesn't seem like the players were ever upset with what Magiczzz was doing. It was just more so like, hey, we need someone that is more suited for the role to help us coach and bring us to the next level. Magiczzz then also says he built a lot of connections, and the players, on the other hand, feel like this is the job of the manager to kind of be that in between for, hey, we want to get signed. You are that middleman on our behalf because that's your role as a manager. And this is where I can understand where Magiczzz may be frustrated, is he's putting this work and effort in, but then instead of getting signed by a team and keeping Magiczzz as the manager, they just said, hey, get out of here. We want this other person. So maybe he feels slighted in that regard, and that's why he's frustrated by it. I can see that as well. Because you work hard, try to find this team, someone to sign and get paid and etc. But then when it comes time for that to happen, you decide to ditch him. Maybe that's it. They then talk about specifics of why they don't want him as a coach, about his involvement of, you don't need to tell me what you did wrong there. Yeah, so how do you guys see that, etc. Basically not coaching, more so just trying to encourage and in very basic terms get them to teach themselves things, which again, if they want someone specifically to be like, hey, tell us what we're doing wrong, encourage us to tell us like, hey, you need to be doing these things, the understanding of the game at a finer level just doesn't seem to be there, and that's why they want a different coach. Again, a lot of teams do have coaches and managers, one that handles scheduling the scrims or getting flights and stuff booked or handling organization offers, etc., while the other one is actually there for in-game stuff as well as mental coaching and stuff, which is another thing they talk about how, you know, if one person is tilting or something like that, we didn't get the level of encouragement or the ability to kind of level things out, or that extra motivation to where I am upset to be like, nah, man, it's good. You know, one game at a time, you got this kind of stuff. That stuff wasn't happening. So again, even though Magiczzz agrees he wasn't coaching them, he's upset that he's no longer a coach. It's kind of this weird in between. The players also of German Amigos state that Magiczzz liked to put himself in the spotlight and tried to profit a lot from the Rocket League team. Very often he was streaming the scrims and utilizing what it was to try to build stuff on his own. Players then also talk about how he boasts about being a 32-year-old and an adult and etc. But then they say he, quote, acts like a child. And the players think it's stupid that Magiczzz calls the player's behavior as childish, when on the other hand, he's been no better, if not significantly worse. They do agree that some of the money things that Magiczzz brought up are valid, and that when the money does come in from Ivan specifically, that $1,000 will be paid to him in full. Another player in the call had similar situations, and he set up a contract with Magiczzz in which they agree when they will pay back the money to Magiczzz. As soon as the situation escalated with the players wanting to kick Magiczzz, he forced the players to give the money right away, even though the contract states otherwise. And because Magiczzz blocked the players when it escalated, they talked to Tox as the middleman, who has to communicate the issue. Again, it just all seems super childish and super petty. They then go on in detail about the insults and the additional things and how they feel about it and all this kind of stuff. And talk about, you know, apologizing for some of the things that they've said as well. There's also another topic about Magiczzz and apparently something with Train Hard and Train Hard drama and about owning a specific spot and everything like this. They didn't really get too much information on it and the ability to watch because, like he said, it was like a 3-hour, 4-hour stream or whatever the heck it was. So they weren't able to get, he's not sure if this is a crucial puzzle piece or what's going on, but doesn't want to write too much detail about it because he's uncertain. So there may be even more there. Overall, to sum the whole thing up, it was stated from the German Amigos perspective on their stream that they liked him as a person. They don't want to do more public statements and don't want Magiczzz to do more public statements as well. Rightfully so. They offer Magiczzz to communicate with them in private. For that, however, he needs to unblock them. They originally wanted to kick him as a coach because they don't think he's able to coach them. Then, however, the situation escalated. Magiczzz started to insult the players and threaten them. Again, not giving any guarantee that the summary is complete. The stream was 2 hours long, I think. Some information might have flew by me, so if please, Twitch chat, complete the information, etc. So it looks like Twitch chat did the best they could to put this document together and kind of fill in the blanks and stuff, which, again, good job to the community, and I greatly appreciate it. Chris, someone who is a regular on my stream as well as my Discord, is the one who sent this over to my mods so they could get it to me. So again, thank you again, Chris. That's the whole story, start to finish. German Amigos and the craziness that was around it. This basically has gone on for like 2-ish weeks, and it looks like hopefully they've come to an understanding. But again, this is stuff that they could have just all done behind closed quarters. But when you get emotions and everything else involved, you can see what happens. And it doesn't always lead to the best results. So even this conversation from the German Amigos didn't need to be 2 hours long. It could have been an easy statement, just quick bullet points, bada bing, bada boom, and we move on. But there's a lot of appreciation for me. We're seeing where other organizations and stuff, this stuff never sees the light of day, even in like big roster changes and stuff too. Like even with FaZe Clan recently saying like, yo, FaZe is benching Gyro, which sucks. We don't get to know any of the information. We don't know any of the details, any of that kind of stuff. All parties stay quiet. It is their business and their business alone. And honestly, that's the way it should be. Although I do appreciate it because then I can make a video out of it. So here we are. That is going to wrap it up for this video of Rocket League news. A little bit of a roller coaster like I mentioned. And hopefully you guys enjoy all the details because I know a lot were curious about what the heck has been going on. So again, shout outs to all the people that did transcripts going from German to English for myself, as well as people that provided info and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you guys have any additional questions or any comments you'd like to leave about your own thoughts on it, let me know in the comments down below as always. And while you're down there, links to everything in the description that I've talked about, transcripts, Twitter posts, all that kind of stuff. And if you could, give the channel a subscription, turn on notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.